Alright, you know my son had to sit in the back. We're gonna go for a ride. King, we call him King Mini Truck. I put it in 4-wheel drive, testing it. Listen how much the RPMs drops when I put the lights on. I'm not sure what that's a sign of. What? I'm gonna turn the lights off though. For this test drive. I got my son on the back. You wanna hold the camera?
Yeah, sure.
Can you do it without dropping it?
Hey everybody, this is my dad, and he does driving the mini truck. That's all. And he doesn't drive it but it's funny. Here's some broken, shattered glass, and here's my dad turning on the AC. He's rolling around. He's waving that thing over there. Did you see it? And there's some cool logos right there. Do you see them? There's the green one. There's that one. You can't really see the little one. There's that. And these mini trucks are kind of cool off-road. If you can see that thing hanging from, the police give us a call if you know what it is. And you know, goodbye mini truckers. Lies mini truckers. So now back to Ben.
Back to Daddy. So it's doing that problem again. Let me show you if I can figure it out. So it's nice and warmed up. It's not nearly as bad as it was, so that's what, hopefully I can adjust it out. So it drives normal, but if I gun it here, oh, this guy, I don't know what they're doing. If you get on it here, kind of bog down a little bit before we could go. What's up, mini truckers around the world, intergalactic, those mini truckers up on Mars? Thanks for watching. We got this one in here for service. So the guy was having problems. It would start and then it would just fall flat whenever it would kind of want to get going. So I've got it here on a charger. Battery was good, but you know, we had started it so many times. I try to milk these batteries. You can see it's charging at 13.9. One of the things, try to charge always at the lowest amps you can. This can be healthier for the battery, so we're pushing just 2 amps is as low as that can go. I pulled the plugs out, and these are the old plugs. I've seen people use these before. I don't really like them. I use the other NGKs, BKR6E-11s. So that's what we've got in there now. These are actually not, this is a BKR6E. So it's just a single electrode with the copper V. You can see that little groove there. Sometimes that groove will wear down. And when you see all the browning, see how it's starting to brown right there? It's really not that bad. When there's a lot of browning, let me see if I can find some in my scrap metal pile. We recycle all of our metal. And I just put it in a pile over here. So I don't have any spark plugs though. At least there's some stuff. Yeah. Even these are not too bad, but you know, they start wearing. I don't know if people are building a little. Okay. Maybe they're under here. Something like this. Okay, so I popped the new plugs in, no difference. Air filter looks good. One of the things you guys probably already know, you need air, fuel, and spark. So we can kind of eliminate those. So you put new spark plugs, you can kind of isolate, okay, does it make any difference? You know, could this distributor cap and rotor. one of the things we've seen before is testing the solenoids on the Hondas. So the Subaru also has a solenoid. It's got one here. And then there's a fuel cut solenoid down here. Okay, the way I tested them, I pull out this harness right there, ground it, and then here's my test rig. So I use this little battery and connect this, and then it has a pin connector, so we had to put that just with the wire and plug that into the pin. Okay, I verified both of them were working. This one was really hard to hear, and I'm not sure if it was sticking or not. I put some WD-40 in there, and then we put some throttle cleaner down in this area to take that intake port off and spray some stuff in there and move your butterfly valves. So I've had this problem kind of a few times, maybe 4 or 5, where it runs good and then it kind of bogs when you get on the accelerator to the point it can die out. So this is kind of the adjustment here. So if it's starting to bog, this is where you want to adjust, and you can go forward and back. And what that screw does is it affects the position of this little flapper. Okay, this is the lean idle mixture, so you can adjust your mixture at idle, lean, not lean, or rich. Okay, this is your idle RPM adjust. So forward is going to increase your idle, and backing out is going to decrease your idle. And then there's one more screw. Let's see if you can see it right here. This is your cold start, high idle, advance. So when you start it initially, when it's super cold, if it's not idling super high and then coming down, or it's idling too high and then it comes down, you can adjust this by pushing that screw forward and back. I'm pretty sure pushing it forward makes it increase the idle, and then backing it off increases the high idle. So don't try to adjust this when it's warm, because you won't get any change and then it's going to be all out of whack. So adjust that when it's cold, adjust this when it's warm, this when it's warm. I don't really mess with the lean mixture. They say it can take a few minutes of going before you get results. So that's all we've done so far. I pulled all the fuses and then pushed them back in. I was trying to think maybe one of the fuses are burnt out for that pin connector, but it all checked. So we're gonna run it a little bit and then see if we made any difference. I feel like this valve, I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I blew air, just my own breath, in here, and fuel was coming down out of here. So maybe something got out of whack. I've seen quite a few times these vacuum lines down here get pulled off. That could be a problem if you're looking for problems. I've seen before these get kind of ripped here, and then all the ones on the tight bend, like this one's got ripped. Make sure these caps are on. That's for like an AC bung or something. Okay, so we'll see. I'm gonna put these plugs back, give them back to them, and then we'll finish charging it, and I'll see if I can test those solenoids again for you on camera. Guys, the mini truck doctor is here. You gotta have short sleeves and a stethoscope to fully complete. So it's kind of a pain to get this clip out, but what we want to do is just lift up on this piece right here and then pull the wires out. You don't really want to pull by the wires because they can pull themselves out, but that's what we want. Okay, just like this. Okay, we got 2 solenoids, so we're gonna test each one individually. and you can see these pin connectors. We're going to just put a line that's going into the metal part. If I can do it with one hand, I'm gonna have to edit this out. Okay, that's what it's going to look like. That's our positive lead. What we've got to do is connect our positive here to the positive terminal of the battery. What we're going to do is just ground this to the chassis, our other lead. Okay, we'll put this here. Now when I apply 12 volts to the solenoid, we should hear it clicking. So this is fuel cut solenoid. It's going to be much louder than the air vent. So listen, if I'll put you down there and you can see if you can listen for it. This is a functioning one. Okay, so I'm testing it and I'm not hearing any clicking. So let's find out what's wrong with our wiring. And our ground is good. Positive is going there. There we go. So you hear that clicking? Okay. What we're gonna do now is take this positive lead, make sure your positive is off here, and we're just gonna switch this wire into the other hole here. So this, I'm actually gonna move my ground a little bit closer and just ground it here on one of these screws. Okay, so now what we're actually doing is we're trying to send 12 volts, and this is a solenoid that has a little plunger on it. You can see it's really hard to see, but this is actually the ground. There's a eye connector under there, and then you can see the wire wraps around right through here, goes there, goes under there, and then comes back out this side. So I'm gonna put you right on the solenoid. Maybe I'll actually touch the solenoid, or I'm just gonna leave you here and we'll see if we can hear it. It's really, this one was much quieter, but let's see. I think it might have been sticking the first time, guys, because it wasn't making that noise. It was making like a real quiet, like. Okay, let me show you what that solenoid looks like. I pulled one out to test one here. So this is a brand new one. This is that grounding strap. This is the positive. And with 12 volts, this comes in and out and plunges. Okay, so let's just bring this out. I hate to open the new parts and make them used, but you know, it's still pretty well new. We never installed it into anything. Okay, so we've just got to hook up our negative here to this negative, and then our positive we're going to do away with this one. Okay, so now when we hook 12 volts up here, we're going to see that plunger, and it's not captured, so this thing can go flying. Watch, just be mindful. This is what it's just riding in there. So when it's installed, it's actually under tension like this, and then it comes in and out. So let's go ahead and show you what a new one looks like. So 12 volts might hold it in. Let's see. Yep, that's 12 volts, and then when I let go, it comes out. And when it's too far out, it won't even plunge. So 12 volts pulls it in. We're getting movement. Our new one's working. We'll let it cool down a little. I had run it, earlier. I want to make sure we got a good cold start. Let it warm up, and then we will, give it back to the customer. These things actually work out pretty handy. It's these little stethoscope. Let me show you here. So you got the stethoscope, and then you just have this metal thing, and you can hook it to some of your equipment. So like here, I put it here. Okay, we can hook it down here. when the thing is clicking, and it gives you a lot better idea. Okay, where's the clicking coming from? Or I've used this to isolate, rod knock or some engine noises, if they were just like muffler noises versus actually in the engine, and then, it's just like a muffler shroud rattling around. So something to think about. We're always looking to get, expand and get smarter. So hopefully this helps a little bit. And write down in the comments if you have any questions or concerns. And I'll keep you posted on how this one's coming along. All right, walk around this time because I ran my battery charger over. And I think we got everything. Let's see if we got our carburetor adjusted properly. I think everything looks good on there. We're gonna do a regular start. He was saying this light came on too when the problem started, which is for the parking brake, so I don't know if that's what made me some sort of electrical issues. Last time it wasn't even letting me really back up. Make sure we don't run anything over here. Got rid of my wife's one of the other cars. Now we got this new car. So the horn works. We're going into first. Earlier it was not letting me go into first. Huh. Now it's running good. Let's see what happens. Looking good, guys. Write down in the comments, oh shit, if you think I should put a seatbelt on, or you think I'm good just riding around. No seatbelt. Let's get it warmed up and make sure it's still doing this. Well, see, I ended up with my seatbelt. This is the answer. Thank you. I realized it's definitely better to look outside after watching some of my videos where I'm hearing like a relay. Almost like, when we hit a bounce, it kind of makes an electric noise. They're building all this new stuff in my neighborhood. They tear down the old ones. A lot of the old ones. Hey. I sold this one for super cheap to this guy with that windshield crack, and it's barely even noticeable. I mean, the windshields for these are really expensive, so I kind of just priced it as if he was going to replace it. Yeah, we should have filmed it on the test drive because I couldn't even get it over here. We kept dying out. Every time you would give it gas, it would bog down and then die. I guess that plunger must control the fuel or something. I'm not 100% sure. Write down in the comments if you know what it is, but it seemed like it solved our problem. I've got the plunger, so we'll see. I mean, usually if they start failing, I lubed it, but because sometimes I go back and watch my own YouTube videos. What we want to do is back this off when it's bogging down and not push it forward. I clean this up real good. You can see where they had the factory settings, but I think this is another one done. Moving on.